I'm James Richardson from the Agriculture and Food Policy Center at Texas A&M, and I'd like to talk a little bit about our recent visit to Washington, D.C. to present the baseline report to the House and Senate Ag Committees. This is a copy of our baseline report. You can get this by going to our website at afpc.tamu.edu. Then over on the right-hand side, first thing you want to do is click that January 2016 baseline briefing report. This is a short report that has a summary of an outlook for the economic viability of all of our representative farms. I talked about a representative farm process in the last video we put together. The second new publication on that website is the working paper. And if you want more detail about the representative farms and their economic viability, you want to click on that working paper. It's a 100-page report that has a detail about the economic outlook for each of our representative farms. Our representative farm system is set to present the report or present the results of what the FAPRI baseline would look like if it comes to pass for each of our representative farms. The baseline analysis that we're doing is for 2014 to 2020. The analysis uses 14 and 15 as the actual prices and yields that the farmers in our panels receive on their representative farms, and that's a starting period for us. And then 2016 to 20 is going to be the forecast period that we're going to use. We classify our farms in three measures. We look at this in terms of definition of financial position. We classify them as either in good condition, marginal condition, or in poor condition. A good condition farm is one that has a less than 25% chance of a negative ending cash balance and less than a 25% chance of decreasing their real net worth, or their real net worth being less than, at the end of the period 2020, being less than what it was at 2014. A marginal farm would be one that has a 25 to 50% chance of a negative ending cash balance and the same probability of losing real net worth. A poor farm is one that has more than a 50% chance of a negative ending cash and a decrease in real net worth. Let's look at the outlook for our representative feed-grain farms. Our feed-grain farms, as this map indicates here, in Texas and the Midwest and the Southeast or Eastern states. Let's review what the outlook prices are for corn. In this case, a baseline projection from FAPRI shows a corn price slightly below the reference price in 15 and equal to it in 16, and then slightly higher than the reference price from 16 on out. If we look at soybeans, because most of our feed grain farms also grow soybeans, we include this in here. The soybean price coming from FAPRI, this is the annual average price from FAPRI, is slightly higher than the reference price throughout the planting horizon. Looking at the grain sorghum farms, the projected price from FAPRI is slightly less than the price in the reference price over that period. The next slide here is a projection of the, it's a review of what our baseline projections have been over the last 4 years and the summary one this time. If we look at the left-hand column there in 2012, this is what we were forecasting when we did a 5-year outlook back in March of 2012 with the 2012 FAPRI baseline. At that time, roughly 80% of our farms were classified in good condition that were feed grain farms. In 2013, 90% of our feed grain farms were classified in good condition. But as we go through 2014 and 15 with lower and lower prices for corn, we get more and more red. More of our farms are classified in red. This time, in our baseline projection for 2016, we've got only Well, we've got 50% of our farms classified as red. That's a significant problem for these farms, and I'm going to go into detail as to why that happened. But almost half our farms are in poor condition. The farms that had a cash reserve they built up in 12 and 13, and they didn't use that cash reserve for further investment or capital investments. Those are the ones that are better able to survive, and those are the ones that are classified in green right now. By the way, our farm program participation assumptions for these farms is 68% of the corn's in ARC and 100% of the soybeans is in ARC. Sorghum is all in PLC. Now this is a stoplight chart that we use to summarize our farms, and this is where that red, yellow, green comes in. If we look at the names of the farms on the left-hand side, the first two letters indicate the state. The first farm up there is an Iowa grain farm that's 1,350 acres, so it's IAG, meaning it's a grain farm, and the 1,350 indicates how many acres are on that farm. The probabilities of negative ending cash are 99% in 2016 and 99% in 2020. This farm's projected to have roughly 100% chance of a cash flow deficit, meaning they're not able to repay their full operating loan by the end of the year. They've used up their cash reserve, and they're having to refinance that operating loan each year. Now, by having to refinance the operating loan each year, the real net worth of this farm actually decreases over time. We've got a couple of farms that are marginal in there, and such as the Nebraska 2400 grain farm. It has a 29% chance of a cash flow deficit by 2020. This farm told us that they had more cash available at the beginning of 2014 because they hadn't spent their cash earlier. But their land values do continue to go down a little bit in the FAPRI projection. We do not have incorporated in here any adjustment downward in land rental rates. We're going to be updating our grain farms in the Midwest over the next 3 months, and hopefully we'll find that there were some decreases in land rents at that time. If that's the case, we'll be presenting updating this baseline in August, and then again in December.